Hello, and welcome to another video from 3.5 Archive. Today, we're going to be doing another D&D 3.5 Prestige class review, and we're going to be looking at the Grey Guard Prestige class from the Complete Scoundrel sourcebook. Grey Guards are paladins who are released from the strictest of their paladin strictures, allowing them to operate with more grim efficiency as solo agents. They have a strong belief in justice, but they are also allowed to lie, threaten, and conceal themselves in the service of said justice. Such acts still require atonement, but it doesn't require the normal material sacrifice to perform the ritual. As such, Grey Guards are expected to push against the limits of their paladin code. This can be a great prestige class for a paladin player who believes in the ends justifying the means, so long as the greater good is served. Most Grey Guards worship Heronius or St. Cuthbert. To become a Grey Guard, you need to be lawful good, have 8 ranks in knowledge religion, and 4 ranks in sense motive. You also have to have the lay on hands feature, so you'll need at least 2 levels in Paladin. Given the Paladin's prickly relationship with multiclassing, you are likely going to want to get into this prestige class via a full 5 levels in Paladin. You'll need to dedicate a significant amount of your skill points to this prestige class, but it will be in 2 skills that are pretty common picks for Paladins. Thus, this prestige class is only lightly restrictive. Almost any Paladin could become a Grey Guard with minor adjustments. That makes sense. Not even any cross-class skills in the latter mentioned bluff, disguise, and intimidate skills that this class lets you use more freely than a normal paladin. So, Grey Guard is easy to get into, but is it worth taking levels in? Well, let's take a look. Your stats are identical to those of a paladin, except you also get a good will save alongside good fortitude, as well as a d10 hit die and a full base attack bonus. You also get to advance your spellcasting at even-numbered levels, but that isn't as big of a deal in a class whose spellcasting isn't the primary focus. As for class features, at level 1 you gain Sacrament of Trust. You still have to follow the Paladin Code of Conduct, but when you do violate it and have to cast Atonement, the spell doesn't cost any experience points as it usually does. This doesn't directly benefit you, but it does benefit whatever poor cleric is casting Atonement on you over and over again on your path as a moral maverick. It fits the class and it's a good start. Also at level 1 you get Lay on Hands as a class feature, and your Grey Guard level stack with Paladin levels for advancing your Lay on Hands ability. That's nice too, but about what you'd expect from a Paladin-centric prestige class. At level 2 you get Debilitating Touch, which lets you use 5 points of your daily healing allotment from Lay on Hands to make a touch attack to sicken a creature for 5 rounds, with a fortitude save based off your class level and charisma modifier to negate it. Basing the save off your class level means it starts out weak but advances more quickly than many such abilities. Even so, it is a fairly weak feature in terms of its consequences and can be all but outdone by Doom, a level 1 cleric spell that doesn't give the -2 damage of sickened, but does work out to a range of 100 plus feet. You'll get a much better save DC from this eventually, so it's worth keeping around, but it's not a particularly powerful effect, especially not when you first grab it. At level 3, you gain a use of Smite Evil. You gain this feature again at level 8. So instead of getting your 3rd use of Smite Evil at character level 10, and your 4th use at level 15, as a straight up paladin would, you get them at character level 8 and character level 13 instead. Your Paladin and Grey Guard levels stack too for the damage of your smite, so you don't have to lose any potency from this prestige class. This is quite good, as channeling Divine Wrath through your strikes is a major part of the fun of being a Paladin. At level 4, you gain Justice Blade, which lets you smite chaos creatures as well as evil creatures. You have to pick which alignment you're smiting before you attack, but that's not much of a big deal. This will let you smite slads and the like, but otherwise doesn't seem to be that much of a boon. This will really only help you fight against slotty and good-hearted rebels, and it's rare you'll be doing either one. At level 5, you gain Devastating Touch, which lets you make another kind of touch attack using your Lay on Hands, but instead, after you hit, you can choose to use your Lay on Hands pool to deal straight damage to the target. A non-evil creature gets a will save for half, but evil creatures are struck with the full amount. Best of all, this damage is untyped and thus bypasses damage reduction and the like quite easily. You can also use up all of your Lay on Hands if needed to deal out a massive, devastating blow, with a reliable chance of hitting thanks to this being a touch attack. This isn't an ability you're going to be using a lot, but it's good to have in your back pocket for when it's needed, and sometimes those abilities are the most important ones to have. At level 6 you don't gain any class features, but at level 7 you gain the Unbound Justice class feature, allowing you to act as needed to accomplish your missions. You add half your Greyguard level rounded down to bluff, disguise, and intimidate skill checks. This gives you a strong chance of demoralizing foes to make them shaken, or infiltrating enemy encampments. This allows you to enjoy a side of being a charisma-based character that many paladins never get to, that of subterfuge and trickery. This adds a lot of fun to the paladin class, and honestly, this feature should have shown up earlier, especially since it's a progressive bonus that improves throughout the class. At level 8, you gain a second use of Smite Evil, bringing your total uses to 4, as discussed earlier. At level 9, you gain an improvement to your Justice Blade ability, allowing you to now smite all alignments. This means that arguably you could smite other paladins who you feel have strayed from the path. This will most certainly have to atone after doing so, but still, it's easy to see how this prestige class could bring a nightmare to a dungeon master to adjudicate ethically, but it is good to be able to bring your deity's wrath on any type of foe, and not be upset that you're not able to smite the Formians invading your home plane just because they're lawful neutral. Finally, at level 10, you gain the Sacrament of True Faith. As long as you're acting in pursuit of a just cause, you never have to atone for your actions. This makes you truly an untouchable, and it's easy to see the parallels between that story and this one. In fact, this prestige class being from the Complete Scoundrel, the Untouchables, and Elliot Ness are actually mentioned as examples of scoundrel characters in the opening pages of the book, among many others from popular culture. You cannot act however you want. You can still lose your powers for habitually immoral behavior or needlessly cruel acts, but you can still be as ruthless as possible in the pursuit of defeating evil. This is a great capstone for the prestige class, even if it's just releasing a limitation you already had rather than giving you a new ability. It's flavorful enough to make up for its relative lack of power, and for not really adding anything particularly new. It is the apotheosis of the concept of the Greyguard, and that makes it a pretty solid capstone, a great end to this prestige class. So overall, the Greyguard definitely achieves its goals, slowly loosening your ethical strictures until you are all but totally free to wield the will of the gods to defeat evil however you see fit. But is it a good class? Well, it gives you more uses of Smite Evil sooner at very little cost in terms of prerequisites. So just from that, it's a great option. Spellcasting ability slows, which is a big downside, but by level 15 you'll be stuck on second level spells instead of having third and fourth level spells as a level 15 paladin. Missing out on Dispel Magic, Holy Sword, and Break Enchantment, as well as powerful preventative spells like Restoration, Death Ward, and Neutralize Poison, can be painful. You can get those spells later by returning to the Paladin class, but you won't be getting that same spellcasting ability until level 20. Does this prestige class deserve full spellcasting? Well, the base Paladin is rather sparse on new features. This prestige class is full of them. The Unbound Justice ability could arguably have been given at level 2 alongside Debilitating Touch. Another feature at levels 6 and 7 would have been nice. The prestige class doesn't need more necessarily, but it could be condensed to 5 levels with a bit of work, combining the 2 touch abilities and doubling up some abilities on 1 level. This might seem a little much though, and spreading out this prestige class over 10 levels is fine. It just needs more Paladin spellcasting to make up for that. Perhaps not full spellcasting, but having only, say, levels 1, 5, and 9 not advanced instead of every odd-numbered level would keep this prestige class as a trade-off from the base Paladin without missing out on so many higher-level spells that are important in campaigns. That said, a Paladin is usually alongside a Cleric in a party anyway, since they are incapable of fulfilling a full Divine Spellcaster or Healer role on their own, so missing out on some of those abilities might not be that much of a big deal. Overall, the Greyguard gets 4 stars for concept and 4 stars for execution. It's a well put together, flavorful prestige class that gives you unique and useful abilities while being a slight upgrade to the basic Paladin in a lot of ways. It still has the trade-off of less spellcasting, but that can be looked at either way, as we just said. It is definitely recommended, and you probably won't suffer too much from missing those spells, while the Greyguard will enrich your Paladin experience by taking you down a very different path toward justice. So that'll be about it for this D&D 3.5 Prestige Class review. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and so on. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time here on 3.5 Archive.